required action.
All right, good morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order, and we can rise for our national anthem. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. All right, are there any additions to the agenda? We have two listed here, forward from administration. Anything else? I have 7.6 is Councillor Schuler reading the Regional Agreement Municipal Preparedness Plan, RAMP. And I have information item addition 8.5, which is the Brazeau County and Drayton Valley Fire Services, January 2016 stats. Nothing else? All right, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Councillor Frederickson. And corrections or amendments? Oh, well, fine, y'all want to vote. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Corrections or amendments is 3.1, January 27th, 2016, regular meeting of council minutes. I have one. On my council report, it's just the physician meeting. It says it's the February 23rd, it's February 24th. So, if that's it, then I'll take a motion to adopt the minutes of January 27th. Councillor Bossert, all in favor? That's carried. We are on to 5.0 as our delegations. So 5.1 is Safari Club International, Drayton Valley, and Brazeau Bowbenders. Step on up. You just need to turn the microphone on and state your names for the record, please.
Okay, I'm Jeananne Tuleski on behalf of SCI Drayton Valley.
And Leonard Claffey with the Brazeau Bowbenders.
Welcome.
Okay, and we just have a presentation that'll be running up. So today we're talking to you guys about the 2016 National Archery in the Schools program provincial tournament that's going to be happening here in Drayton Valley in April. So we're really excited because this is the second year that we're bringing it to Drayton Valley. Prior to that, it was in Edmonton all the years prior to that. So we're really excited that we get to showcase our community for a second year in a row. And I'll just wait till that's up and then I can continue. All right. So like I said, the 2016 Alberta Provincial Tournament here in Drayton Valley, April 27th to 30th. Next slide, or do I have a clicker? Is that it?
Sorry, we'll just be 1 minute.
No worries. It should work. All right, so for those who haven't heard about NASP, we'll just do a little bit of an introduction what it is about. So it teaches target-style archery in schools, usually during the phys ed classes. It's taught for grades 4 to 12. They're all taught the same lessons, and it often leads to a school sport like volleyball, basketball, that sort of a thing. And all teachers and instructors of NASP have to undergo a one-day course to be certified as a basic archery instructor. Next slide. So what's so special at NASP is it's an inclusive program, so all the students in grades 4 to 12 use the exact same equipment. Doesn't matter if they can afford better archery equipment or that kind of a thing, it's the same all across the board, and they're all taught the same lessons throughout the grades 4 to 12. And it's also inclusive of those who might not excel at other school sports, might not have those athletic abilities required for like track or soccer or basketball. So it gives them a chance to be a part of a school sport, whereas they might not be able to participate in some of those other team sports. Positive coaching is stressed throughout the basic archery instructor workshop, and it's something that really builds self-confidence and discipline in those students, and it's something that they can continue doing even after they're done high school. Next slide. So NASP in Drayton Valley and area, we're very proud to say that it's in all of the schools, grades 4 to 12 in Drayton Valley. Now HTA has also taken upon introducing NASP this year, so that's really exciting for us. Last year at the provincial tournament, there were close to 800 archers participating, and of those 800 archers, almost 400 of them were our local and area archers. So almost half of the archers, or basically half of the archers, were from Drayton Valley and surrounding area, which is really cool, especially since the program has only been here just about 4 years. So we're really excited about that. Some other area schools include Tomahawk, Breton, Warburg, Entwistle, Wabamun, Buck Lake Homeschool Association, and we expect to see them all at the tournament again this year. Next slide. So I'm here on behalf of SCI Drayton Valley, and why did we get involved with NASP? We just think it's a really amazing program that, again, teaches self-confidence and discipline to the archers. And anyone who has, watched a practice or even was able to see some of the tournament last year, you'll notice how excited the kids are to be part of something as big as NASP, and it makes them feel really special to compete in a tournament like the provincial tournaments. SCI Drayton Valley, we're not just all about hunting and fishing, although a lot of our members are hunters and fishers. We're about conserving habitat as well as educating youth, getting them involved in their communities, in the outdoors, and we also support a lot of other programs like the Food Bank, Santa Anonymous, and we also have a wheelchair accessible fishing dock just outside of Violet Grove, where we take seniors from some of the lodges in town, as well as Rimbey, other areas, and we've taken kids from inner city Edmonton out there, and it's often the first time that they're ever catching a fish or even fishing, so it's really exciting to do other things like that within our community.
And myself, like I said, I'm Leonard Claffey with the Brazeau Bowbenders. The Brazeau Bowbenders has been in Drayton Valley now 27 years, and we were really excited with the help of SCI to be able to get together as two groups to bring this NASP program to Drayton Valley. The dollars that we put in between SEI and the Brazeau Bowbenders over the last 4 years to the schools has been approximately $120,000, mostly in equipment and the training of the teachers, as well as doing some outdoor programs with the NASP kids in our outdoor facility, and well as purchasing equipment that we use between SCI and the Brazeau Bowbenders in our indoor facility for two of the school groups that don't have a place, which is the outreach school and the homeschool group. Both shoot in our facility, which is in Tomahawk in the indoor facility. Like I said, it's been really exciting to see this come through. We had the provincials, we were able to pull it out of Edmonton by taking nationals to Edmonton with a lot of extra work with the AHIA group, and we're hoping to be able to have the provincials in Drayton Valley for a few more years.
So just some highlights from the 2015 NASP Provincials. So they were held last April at the Omniplex. 900 archers were registered and about 800 participated from all across Alberta. Some schools drove 5-6 hours away to come participate in the tournament. And it really was just an amazing event. You can see from that picture there, when they were walking into the range, they were escorted in and got to carry in their school name, and made a really big deal about it to make them feel extra special about participating. And here's just some other pictures. This is from one of the schools called H.A. Costache. They sent, out of Smoky Lake, they sent 72 shooters to the tournament. So they say when they have a NASP day that like half of their school is participating in NASP because it's just so big.
They actually have, that school has 7 of their archers on the national team.
So for the 2016 provincials that we're planning, again, April 27th to 30th, we're expecting over 1,000 archers to attend. Over the years, the provincial tournament has kept growing and growing every year that it's been taking place. We're going to host it out of the Well House warehouse. Right now it's an abandoned building in Drayton Valley. And we're looking to showcase that and put something in there where it's not being used anymore. Also hosting it there, that same weekend at the Omniplex, there is a rodeo that is taking place that is being hosted out of Omni 1, so the location of Omni 2 and Omni 3 weren't as ideal as that location. And also having it at the Well House warehouse gives us a little bit more play as far as setting up and taking down. We're not restricted to such a compact schedule or have to rent out extra days to set up and take down and that kind of a thing. So as far as the Town of Drayton Valley supports, we are looking for volunteers. Last year was amazing. All of our volunteers were great. We heard nothing but fantastic remarks about how well they did, and we actually even had to turn away volunteers, which rarely happens for any kind of volunteer thing. But again, we are looking for more volunteers this year because this way we can have people work 1 day as opposed to 3 and that sort of thing. If you're interested in volunteering, you can check out the SCI Drayton Valley Facebook page. There's a link on there, or you can contact myself and I can send you the volunteer sign-up form. As far as funding goes, we are going to be submitting an application to the Community Event Grant program, and I know that the next go-around of those comes out on April 1st. If any way possible, if you guys could take a look at our application prior to that, just because if we do receive funding from the town, we want to recognize you guys on our bags that every participant receives at the tournament, as well as in our program and signage at the event itself. So just April 1st might not be enough notice to get all that kind of done. Yeah, to get all that kind of stuff. We need at least maybe a month at the latest to get all that stuff together with logos and whatnot. So, but just be aware that that application is coming, and thank you for your time, and we hope to see you guys out at the tournament this year, even just to come check it out and see what it's all about.
If you guys have any questions for us?
I'm sure they do. Councillor Frederickson?
Mr. Claffey, I believe at some point in talking with you, this event last year was a 1-day event. You guys are looking to try to create it into a 2-day event. Is that correct?
Last year it was actually a 3-day event, and now it's a 4-day event. So it'll be starting on the Wednesday. Wednesday,
Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And the reason we don't go to a Sunday is when AHIA has run it in Edmonton, they found the Sundays were the dates the schools did not want to register and travel, so we moved it to the Wednesday. With moving it out of the Omniplex to the Wellhouse building, we can't accommodate as many shooters at one time, so they said, let's pull it to another day. Plus, it takes the archers into a little later in the day. Hopefully, more of them will stay overnight in Great Valley to accommodate the hotel association. So we're pushing it to 7 o'clock as the last shooting time frame.
Thank you. Councillor Nadeau?
Councillor Farrell and I last year happened to be in the gym while this was going on, so we had a bird that was almost our view, pretty much. And I have to say, it was very well run. I think we were very impressed with how organized everything was, and you could feel the energy as soon as you walked into the Omniplex. The kids were terrific. We were so impressed. So I just want to say, if it's anything like it was last year, it's going to be a terrific event, and good luck.
We appreciate it. And that's one of the biggest things with archery and this NAS program. It's a very disciplined event. And you may see the kids, and some are a little wild, and you'll see them jump around and move around and have a lot of fun. But as soon as they get those bows in their hands and they have to stick within the rules of NASP, you see them settle down, and it's a very disciplined. They work everything off whistle commands. It has to be done that way in order to be properly insured and regulated. So, and the kids do a great job.
Councillor Bossert?
Good morning. Thank you for coming in and sharing about this great tournament that's, again, going to be in our community. I am just very impressed. I didn't recall the event of last year, have to say, but I just think that the discipline and the sportsmanship and the passion that occurs for these young people is amazing, that you can engage this many young people in a single activity during the week, a school or a 3 or 4 day event is wonderful. I was an archer in my youth, and I wish I could just join in again. Perhaps I can volunteer, but I wish you the best of luck with this event. I think it's an opportunity to showcase our community and just to encourage the youth that come. So thanks for all the passion and hard work you've been putting into it as well.
Thank you. And we are actually, we threw Annette had mentioned it before, but we are going to try to take a shot at bringing the Worlds to Drayton Valley. The first test is this year in South Africa. And after that, because it's the first time it's been pulled out of the United States. So after that, there will be meetings, I do believe in Kentucky, that we'll find out if our application is going to be successful, but there's no guarantee on that right now.
Do you know how many participants there would be in that?
Well, it's, each country sends, it's kind of a different setup as NAS for provincials. Anybody can go. So again, some of the schools, like we said, send 72 shooters. Same with nationals. Because NASP is that all-inclusive umbrella, they don't want to turn any students away. You do receive rewards and that kind of thing in your age categories, but again, they want to, get as many kids competing as possible. Whereas the Worlds be a little bit different. When they do it in other countries, they go on tours, that kind of a thing. So if they came here, they could go to Jasper, Banff, and all that kind of stuff, highlighting the whole province. So they, each country only sends their top, I think, like 3-4 shooters. Okay. But again, there'd be people coming from Africa, from the United States, New Zealand, Australia, that kind of a thing. So kind of cool to bring them here for sure.
Sounds great. Well, thank you very much. Oh, Councillor Frederickson?
Thank you. Just one other comment. We did switch our events grant from the distribution of it from a lump sum to 4 quarters that program is running this year. So it sounds like you've been in contact with Annette, but just to keep that contact just so that what you're asking is, within kind of the parameters of what we're looking at for the events grant this year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Under delegations, 5.2, we have Staff Sergeant Calahoo with our RCMP January stats.
Let's raise that up a bit. Well, good morning, everyone. So here today for our January stats, there's a couple of things that I'm just going to touch off the bat. concerning the first and last page of the report that I sent in. Touching on the last page first, where it says with regards to spousal abuse and as it being an issue, which of course it always is, but in this case, the numbers themselves say there was 19 this month, but the problem is when I pull up the actual reports according to the first page, it says there's only 8. So when I did some looking into it on our system, yeah, there is only 8, so I think there's a typo there. So of that, 4 went to charge, 2 were family violence related, which went to charge, and the other ones were either with regards to like a fight at the bar or whatever else. But again, 2 this month were family related, so we were successful in laying charges in that. So just to clarify that, we'll move that to the side for now. With regards to our criminal harassment, there was 4 complaints this month, or in January. All of those were unfounded complaints. So they were issues where there wasn't either the evidence to proceed, or it was something that was actually something else when we dealt with it. So in that respect, it just was an interesting stat that I thought I'd bring to your attention. With regard to our break and enter files, there was 4 in January. One of those was a residential one where 2 TVs were stolen. We're still looking into that. Actually, all 4 of the files from last month we're still looking into. We do have some work to do on them still, so there is, in a couple of cases, we have a couple of suspects we're looking at, so we're still working on that, and we'll hopefully be able to lay charges on those as a result. Theft of motor vehicles, there was 2 this past month. Of those 2, one was recovered in Strathcona County. The other one is still outstanding. That vehicle is a white 2000 F-350 pickup, license plate BDC0295. So it's still outstanding and in the area, so we're hopefully going to be able to locate that at some point. Well, we don't know if it's in the area, but it is certainly still outstanding. So moving on, the other things I took note of is that our reportable property damage and motor vehicle collisions is down. I think thankfully due to the fact that the deer are not as frequent on the roads as they once were during the rut, so I think we're starting to slow that down a little bit. False alarms, 26 this past month for calls, so we're still working with the alarm companies to try and make that work out, but we have laid some charges based upon the new bylaw. It's coming to the point where if it's not happening, and so we're trying to encourage our business owners to keep in contact with them as well. And there's a few there that were residential. It's kind of about a 60-40 split this month. So in those cases, again, we're laying tickets, and hopefully it's going to help with the situation. But again, traditionally, we've seen anywhere from 30 to 40 a month, so I guess technically it is down, but it's the first month of the year, so we'll see how it goes. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, and I touched on briefly last report, and that was after basically the year end in December, was with regards to our impaired driving count. This month, we had 1 successfully laid charge. It's not what I would deem as successful for a month in that respect. I do believe there's more impaired driving out there. And again, it's something that I brought forward, and probably at a GNP meeting, not this month, but probably next month, I'm going to try and have something formalized for our next annual performance plan in order to address that with more focused and targeted enforcement in that capacity. It could be anything from scheduled check stops to, again, hitting the highlighted time frame of when we have impaired drivers on the roads, usually from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. and so forth, or beyond, depending upon that. But really, sometimes there's no real time frame. They could be at any time of the day. So, but traditionally speaking, usually around bar close is when we get the highest frequency. So we're trying to make sure that we start to look at that. So I've tasked my sergeant with coming up with a operational plan to drive that forward this year. So we will be looking at that as one of our priorities, and with the support of council as part of that, I think we'll probably see an increase in those numbers as a result. So with that, I'm pretty much done with the report. It's been as you noticed, it went from 7 pages down to 4 pages. That was a change from district and how it was sent out. So with that, if anyone has any questions, I'm more than willing to speak.
Councillor Nadeau?
Thank you. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
And just, these are things that I'm hearing, so I said I would pass it on along to you. In terms of when a business is broken into, what are the steps afterwards that the RCMP would help in terms of securing the site?
Are you talking with regards to, when you say security, that's kind of a broad brush. Are you talking more
Like
along
a glass door was broken.
Oh, you're talking about
In
with
the middle of the
regards
night.
to what our obligations are? Normally, after we notify the business owner, it's up to them to make sure they re-secure their business. Whether that's going to be such a matter of putting up a piece of plywood to cover it until it can be dealt with, that type of thing. Normally, normally that is the responsibility of the business
Of the
owner to make
business
sure
owner.
that's taken care of.
Are there contacts in terms of, like, there's several glass shops in the community. Are there contacts that they're customer service-wise that you would make connections, or do you have a standing order with any of those businesses?
No, normally we don't, and the only reason why is because when we call the business owner, we're not going to recommend one glass shop over
Right.
another glass shop sort of thing, so
Okay,
we have to kind of remain impartial in that area.
okay.
So,
Now, this incident happened in the middle of the night, so obviously
Yeah.
securing their business
You know,
and
what
stock.
yeah. What I would suggest probably is if it's a concern, maybe having the business owners reach out to the glass shop, make an arrangement for a 24-hour service if that's required, something of that nature, and hopefully that'll help alleviate that concern.
No, I think that's an excellent suggestion. I think that it just goes to customer service and getting that communication out to business owners in terms of what their responsibilities are. And maybe that's a conversation to have with the chamber in terms of having those business connections and ensuring that backup is always there. I do have to say, in that instance when this happened, that they were so very impressed about the response time for the RCMP. They were there within minutes, so just to commend on that. And I had an early childhood development meeting yesterday, and kind of the casual conversation in between policy talk and so on is the increase of crime. And I had said, of course, you come every 3 weeks and report on where crime is, and
Yes.
in actuality, there are some increases, but in other cases, there are decreases, and getting that communication out on having, we do have the media here in terms of what they're presenting out to the community. It's a shame that maybe that message isn't getting across, because with social media, it's always in your face. So you seem, and there's stressors to that, and the community seems like it's on the rise where it's not. But it would be nice for the media to have touch base with you and have those communications with you to get those messages out. I've explained that these are on the web as well, and people can always action our agenda items and your statistics as well. But again, it's a communication thing, getting that out there I think from the RCMP as well.
Right. To touch on that, I guess the general overall feeling at the detachment is that it never stops, of course, because there's always something new every day that comes forward. I mean, yesterday, I was just mentioning that we had a stolen vehicle that had been called in, and we were able to apprehend 2 people out of it as a result, so successfully a good thing for us to have. But I guess it comes down to is that, we look at a number of things. While the numbers say that our violence is down and that type of thing, we also have to look at things like how the economic situation in the town is affecting everybody with regards to stressors, money stressors, those types of things. When we go into these situations, and there's a lot of times where there's things that remain resolved alternatively sometimes as well. I know yesterday I was helping out the floor just because we were short, and so I went to a couple different calls that actually never made it through the complaint line, but just went straight to our office, and so taking care of those. So sometimes there's calls that aren't necessarily reflected. We put them in after the fact, so it tends to be something that there's always there's always more going on sometimes than we think, so. But, yeah, every community I've ever been to, people always say, oh, there's nothing that goes on in this community. But then from there, they don't see what we see normally as well, so.
Thank you. Councillor Frederickson?
Staff Sergeant Calhoun, I was just wondering, what was the response to the enforcement of the false alarm bylaw, since obviously we're actively enforcing that now?
You know, two things. Sometimes, well, people normally understand that because of the situation and because of multiple complaints, obviously, that there comes a point where we have to just enforce it. There has been some business owners that have said that they're going to be complaining to their alarm companies as a result. You know, and I don't particularly blame them. Sometimes they don't get the customer service they need to get to deal with if there is a problem zone that keeps going off or something that, you know, but until there's something that actually changes the policies of how the alarm companies work, it does tend to become a point of contention sometimes with business owners, I guess in particular. On the homeowner side, I haven't really heard a lot as to how that's affecting them. Certainly, I'm sure that now that I've said that, probably maybe you'll get some feedback, so that would be good to hear as to how that is. So, but ultimately, I think that, you know, it's people have the understanding that it's there for a reason, and normally they've been provided with a warning beforehand. Normally, it doesn't mean we have to, but you know, we've tried to give them some time to make it work before we lay a charge. But again, they also know that we don't have to do that, and we can just lay the charge as well. So.
Any further questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, on to 6.0 is our public time. Are there any members of the public here who would like to speak? Forever hold your peace. All right, then we'll move on to our 7.0 decision items. First up, we have 7.1, Councillor Schuler, Community Event Grant Applications, first quarter allocations.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Wheeler. The town of Drayton Valley recognizes that there are nonprofit organizations that host community events to raise funds or that require donations for worthwhile projects, programs, or services. In an effort to support these organizations in their efforts, the town may provide support grants to assist with the hosting of community events and initiatives. Funding applications are to be reviewed on a quarterly basis. The first quarter deadline was January 22nd, 2016, and $5,000 is available for distribution. Several applications were received, indicating the variety of community organizations who are contributing to the improving the quality of life of our residents. The objectives of each of the organizations being recommended by administration for a community event grant are consistent with the objectives outlined in the Social Development Plan and the Community Sustainability Plan. Say that twice. The third annual Eagle Point Loppet creates a high-quality outdoor recreation opportunity with the community. The 61st annual Broadway on Ice show showcases, celebrates, and recognizes local talent. The I Am Mother-Daughter Conference provides opportunities for a healthy lifestyle through education and physical activities. The Workspace Wellness Conference is another step in ensuring the town of Drayton Valley is a community of resilience. The Pee Wee Provincial Tournament and the Gymnastics Fun Day both strive to meet the goal of recreational facilities and programs are available and accessible to all. Therefore, I move the Town Council award the Pembina Nordic Ski Club third annual Eagle Point Loppet a total of $500 from the community event grant. Do you want me to do all of them or individually?
You guys, I was away at last week's GMP. I'm assuming it was kind of discussed and that there's individually? Individually, please.
You got the first one.
All right. Any discussion on this motion? I'll call to question. All in favor? That's carried.
I move the Town Council award the Drayton Valley Figure Skating Club 61st Annual Broadway on Ice Show a total of $500 from the community event grant.
Any discussion on this motion? Call to question, all in favor? That's carried.
I move that Town Council award Aim for Success I Am Mother-Daughter Conference a total of $750 from the community event grant.
Any discussion on this motion? Councillor Neto?
That's okay. I just wanted to confirm that CETC was going to be in kind. We had that conversation in addition to it, and just confirming that those arrangements have been made.
Yes, actually, that was discussed with the Chief Operating Officer, and he indicated support for that.
I will call to question. All in favor? That's carried.
I move the Town Council award the Healthy Communities Coalition Workplace Wellness Conference a total of $1,000 from the community event grant.
Any discussion on this motion? I'll call to question. All in favor? That's carried.
I move that Town Council award the Drayton Valley Minor Hockey PB Provincial Tournament a total of $500 from the community event grant.
Any discussion on this motion? Call to question. All in favor? That's carried.
And lastly, I move that Town Council award the Brazeau Gymnastics Club Fun Day a total of $500 from the community event grant.
Any discussion on this motion? Call to question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Seven point two, Councillor Bossert, Youth Arts, Heritage, and Culture Grant applications for the first quarter.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The town of Drayton Valley recognizes the importance of culture, heritage, and art, including dance, film, video, new media, music, and the literary, visual, theatrical, and performing arts, and Aboriginal culture in our community. The Youth Arts, Heritage, and Culture Grant has been established to recognize the enthusiasm and dedication of our youth, of our young individuals to pursue achievements in arts, culture, and heritage. The first quarter deadline was January 22nd, 2016, and $2,500 is available for distribution. The Frames Film Festival creates an event where the arts can be celebrated and opportunities to get involved are made available for all ages. A goal outlined in the 2015 to 2019 Community Sustainability Plan. Therefore, I move that Town Council awards the Frames Film Festival a total of $1,000 from the Youth Arts, Heritage and Culture Grant.
Any discussion on this motion? Councillor Bossert?
I just wanted to make a comment. I had heard something in the community about why the town of Drayton Valley is now issuing grants to different events and different activities in our community. And I can see, or I would like to comment, that all of the activities that we are providing some grant money to today only enhance the life of our community. We know that our community is enduring some difficult days, and the fact that the town can make some contribution to healthy, resilient activities in our community only strengthens all of us. So I am pleased that the town can make these contributions to these activities.
Councillor Frederickson?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. To my knowledge, this particular grant is a new grant, right? This is a new one? Yeah. So I just wanted to say it was very encouraging to see that there was an application right off the start for this particular grant, and it wasn't only for a really cool idea. It was also a youth that is spearheading this, so that is extremely encouraging. Also, just to comment to what Councillor Bossert had just mentioned too, is that in my short time on council, there are community groups that are constantly asking for assistance and funds, whether in kind or whether financial contributions to their events. And I would say it's very prudent of this council to budget dollars and to have a process in which people can apply for grant dollars so that we are looking through the events themselves, making sure that they are in line with our social development plan as well as our sustainability plans, and we are able to provide people with that assistance that they do require. Thank you.
Councillor Nadeau?
Thank you. I just want to say, yes, it is a brand-new grant, and I'm so pleased that, again, right out the gate, that somebody is actioning it. And this came about through our youth initiative that this is the first time we've done that as well. We've gone out to the high schools, including the outreach school, to include them in having through our sustainability plan with our sustainability coordinator, and having conversation cafes with kids at the high school. And this was developed through those conversations on what the youth want to see. And there was a broad list, and this is one of the action items. So to be able to have kids come forward and say this is something that they like to see in the community, and for us to then go back to the kids and say, yeah, we agree, and we support that, I think that is immeasurable to what we can do for kids in our community. And I encourage any kids that have a great idea that they want to participate in or want to pitch to council, and that fits within the guidelines, to come forward and talk to us about it, because we'd love to hear more. And I'm glad that we can support this initiative in this way.
Yes, I think so too. And reading through the application, it is someone who is a youth in our community that's bringing this forward and putting this on. And the amount they asked for was the $1,250, and we're only awarding, the recommendation is for $1,000, but I would be in favor of recommending the full amount. I think that it doesn't reach our full budget, and I would hate to see that they didn't have enough, or because it's the first time that they're doing this application, they might not have their budget quite lined up, depending on what they need, or if they want to do an award for the best film. When you're talking about bringing in films from other communities, it does take time and money. And I just want to make sure that it does succeed, and I like that they said any extra funds would go to next year's event. So I would make a friendly amendment to be $1,250. Really? Oh, I don't know. Somebody? No? Would somebody like to make a friendly amendment? Councillor Nadeau?
I would concur. Based on the deadline, we have additional funds left in this fund, and it's great to have residual. We still will have a significant amount that can then go towards next quarter, but if we have residual funds, this is the only application, the deadline's exceeded. I don't see any reason why we can't pursue and having the full award of the grant, so I would love to make the recommendation for the full amount.
Okay, so, Councillor Long?
I would be opposed to that, not for the extra $250, but on the principle that this application does identify a couple of other potential people to put money in, and it's easy just to take things on and do things for people. This lets the applicant go out and try and find another $250, which is not a lot of money, so sort of encourages the initiative, while giving them, I think, enough support to really almost take care of it.
Any other comments? All right, so then I have to call the amendment first. I will call the amendment one more time, so that's in favor of the $1,250 being awarded. All in favor? All opposed? Did you read it? It's a tie, so then that's defeated. Yep. So then we'll call the original motion. All in favor of $1,000 for the Arts and Heritage Grant? And that's carried. All right. Thank you. 7.3 is Councillor Frederickson, Green Municipal Fund Grant Agreement, Net Zero Study. Yep, no problem.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Agenda item 7.3, Green Municipal Fund Grant Agreement, Net Zero Study. The Aquatic Fund Development Strategy Committee has been awarded a Green Municipal Fund through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to undertake a net zero study for a proposed new aquatic facility. The objective of the study is to identify green technologies and energy-saving measures that can be applied to a new aquatic facility, all with the aim of developing a building that produces as much energy as it consumes. This is a joint project with Brazeau County, and the two municipalities are sharing equally in the matching funds for the GMF grant. The town of Drayton Valley is serving in the capacity as the administrator of the grant and is therefore required to enter into an agreement with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities for the GMF grant. The attached agreement outlines the terms, conditions, and administrative requirements for the GMF grant. The agreement has been reviewed by legal counsel and satisfactorily addressed the expectations of the Aquatic Fund Development Strategy Committee. Minor revisions, including the final completion date of the study, and the signing authority will be made to the agreement to reflect the current status. The agreement is therefore being presented to council for its approval. Therefore, I move that Town Council accept the contract agreement with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities for the Green Municipal Fund Grant.
Thank you. Any discussion on this motion? Councillor Frederickson?
I was just going to ask Mr. Eason just to speak a little bit more in depth in terms of the minor revisions that were being, that have been mentioned in this backgrounder.
Thank you. Good morning, Council. The minor changes that are being asked for in the document are just with respect to the completion date for the agreement. Right now, it's listed in March, and we are nowhere close to having the net zero study done by March. So we are, and I've already checked with the officer with the Green Municipal Fund, and there's no problem with changing the date. The other, of course, it indicates Mr. Nadeau as the signing authority, and of course, with his retirement, means that we have to change that. So those are the only minor changes we're looking in the document. But can certainly speak to the fact that the project team had their first initial meeting yesterday, and quite excited about what they're looking at doing and how they're actually looking for community engagement in the process. So quite excited about their energy that they're putting into the thought of this being, again, just a template and as another form of leadership that can be shown within small rural municipalities for some very innovative thinking around how to move a project forward. So really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Councillor Schuler?
Yeah, just couple questions. First of all, it doesn't state in here anywhere what the dollar figure of the grant is or how much town council is asking to commit to it. So could, first of all, can we get that? And then I have one more.
Yeah, Ms. Dreesen, you can.
Thank you. The full grant is for $47,500, and that portion, the matching portion, is then equally distributed between the town and the county, and that's already been approved in the budget from 2015. So the funding's already in place for that.
Okay. Councillor Schuler?
Thank you. Actually, you just answered my second question, so we're good now. Thank you.
Councillor Bossert?
Just wondering if we do have a new completion date that would be part of the contract.
Spoken with the team yesterday, and they believe within 6 months, but we'll wait until the end of this year. We'll target the end of this year to have the full report done as well as the accounting for the grant as well, seeing as how we want to finish it within the budget year. But they feel that they need 6 months from start to finish.
All right, no more discussion, and I will call the question. All in favor? That's carried. 7.4, Councillor Nadeau, Development Permit DV 16-002 at 5517 53rd Avenue.
Thank you. The town of Drayton Valley has recently purchased a building at 5517 53rd Avenue for the purposes of an animal care facility. The intended use of the proposed building permit aligns with the statutory documents and bylaws as Municipal Development Plan 2012/27/D considerations. The municipal development plan shows that the subject lands are intended for commercial development. Animal care facilities are considered a discretionary use within the commercial district. As this area of the town is older, no area structure plan has been adopted. An animal care facility means development for the purposes of treatment, boarding, and grooming of animals and includes retail sales of associated products. This may include those uses defined within the bylaw as a veterinarian clinic. as well as grooming services, boarding and breeding kennels, impounding and quarantine facilities, and animal shelter, but does not include the sale of animals. The current zoning for these lands is C2 General Commercial District. The purpose of the C2 district is to provide land for retail and service businesses which generate large volumes of traffic or which benefit from exposure to traffic or which need larger lots that are available in the C1 district. Animal care facilities are discretionary use within the C2 General Commercial District and therefore requires council consideration. For the Alberta Building Code considerations, no concerns were raised by the building inspector regarding the proposed animal care facility. Drayton Valley Brazeau County Fire Department considerations, the Deputy Fire Chief has indicated there are no concerns that are proposed with the proposed animal care facility. However, once the renovations to the building commence, there is an MFPA standard that will be required. Additional considerations, administration reviewed the subject lot as well as surrounding properties. It appears that with the subject lot is surrounded by commercial and industrial businesses, there will be minimal to no impact with an animal care facility within this area. Public consultation, a letter was sent out to the adjacent landowners, and at the time of preparing this report, no concerns were raised regarding the proposed animal care facility. Administration recommends, therefore, I make motion approving development permit DV 16002 for the use of an animal care facility at 5517 53rd Avenue with conditions as noted below.
Thank you. Any discussion on this motion? Councillor Long?
Just the number of the development permit, I believe, Michael.
Oh, DV's, sorry.
Yeah, just with the number of the development permit, I believe Councilor misread, and it should be DV 16022.
It's 002 up here, but it's a typo.
Okay, look, some clarification there on the number of the development. Thank you.
Yeah, that was my bad. It's actually 002. We haven't even reached 22 permits at this point yet, so we're good.
All right. Any further discussion? Councillor Frederickson?
I would just like to ask administration just to give a little bit of context for the decision for the purchase of an animal care facility. Up to this point, the town hasn't owned a facility of its own, so if you could just give some context for this decision.
I will certainly endeavor to do that. As council is more well aware than myself, and probably all members of administration here today more aware than myself, this matter goes back to council deliberations in 2015 in terms of what a go-forward approach should be towards animal control and temporary sheltering requirements in the community. A number of options were reviewed and looked at that included taking advantage of existing facilities, whether or not a longer-term lease or a more temporary type of an arrangement might be more palatable and feasible, or possible expansion or usage of existing town facilities. A number of options had been looked at throughout 2015 into the early part of 2016 following the approval of the interim budget by council. A number of factors played into this decision and this purchase of the facility, including the fact that the facility was already ideally situated as well as equipped internally for the purposes of animal control and temporary sheltering. It does have a couple of bays that allows options for an operator, contractor, to be able to utilize a facility for sheltering purposes for different animals. The facility was well set up on two levels, including appropriate facilities for veterinarian services to attend on site should they be required, as well as for office space for a contractor and potentially usage from other town administration related to these areas as well. We were able to secure the purchase of this facility under budget that council had provided for this purposes, and it that upon an analysis of cost was more feasible from a cost and economic situation than entering into a long-term lease, and was more cost-effective than any proposed expansion to existing town facilities at the current time. So all of these elements kind of played into the decision to utilize the budget that was provided in this fashion.
Thank you. Councillor Frederickson?
Thank you, Mr. Dibben. I just had one other question too, and of course, throughout the deliberations, this had been discussed and brought to council, but just for the purpose of informing the public, is municipally owned, or are municipally owned facilities common?
I'm not certain I have a frame of reference in terms of animal control and temporary sheltering to answer whether or not common in this context. Certainly in terms of municipally owned facilities for purposes of either town department, town division operations, statutory requirements, or priorities that have been discussed and determined by council and budget allocations made, yes, that would be a common and usual practice to take a look at an appropriate and the most cost feasible methodology and arrangement to provide a house or a facility for those purposes.
Councillor Nadeau?
In the backgrounder, it talks to, and I'm just going to ask our chief about this because it's an acronym, and maybe if we can get some context to what that NFPA standard would be, just for the public.
Sorry, if you can repeat what the acronym was, and I can.
The acronym is NFPA standard.
Oh, that's the National Fire Protection Association standards. Sorry. Yeah.
Any other questions? Councillor Bossert?
I just want to comment that I think this is a great move forward on this file, that it has been on council's table for a number of years, this concern, and we have now moving forward to purchase this property to fit it for the use of animal control and temporary housing, and I think it provides an excellent solution for the concerns of the community.
Councillor Frederickson?
Thank you. Just one other thing. In our discussions over the last year regarding this file, also, we were very cognizant of the efforts of Cause for Critters, and our administration has done a really good job with informing us on what we're doing as a community in terms of animal control versus what Cause for Critters is doing in terms of animal adoption and rescue, yes, animal rescue and adopting. So I'm very happy with this. I'm glad that we're not overlapping in any way with what our community groups are already doing. And I think it does solve an issue that we continually run up against, which is having the availability of contractors, but having to also have a place that where animals can go that do meet all the necessary requirements, guidelines, veterinary services, having a place available for the care of animals. We know that I personally don't have an animal, but I know from that outside-in view that we do have a lot of animal lovers in our community. So I think this is great.
Any further discussion? All right, then I will call to question. All in favor? That's carried. You guys want to clap? Or All right. 7.5 is Councillor Long repealing bylaw 2016-01A.
Thank you. Administration has conducted its annual evaluation of the current bylaws in place and reviewed the requirements for each to remain in effect. The following bylaws are being recommended for repeal. Those are bylaw 92-23, approving the joint general municipal development plan between the MD of Brazo number 77 and the town of Drayton Valley, adopted May 20th, 1993. bylaw, I was looking forward to this, bylaw 9908 for the debenture of the Omniplex parking lot adopted June 30th, 1999. That's 2 weeks before I moved to Drayton Valley. Bylaw 9909 for the debenture for sewer flushing equipment adopted June 30th, 1999. Bylaw 99-10 for the debenture for Civic Centre roof mechanical upgrades adopted June 30th, 1999. A busy day. Bylaw 2000-11 for the purchase of grader adopted June 7th, 2000. Bylaw 2001-18-F to amend Bylaw 2000-11 adopted October 10th, 2001. Okay, Bylaw 2002-08-F for the expansion of fitness centre adopted January 8th, 2003. Bylaw 2003-01-F for the fire ladder pumper unit adopted February 19th, 2003. Bylaw 2003-06-F for the debenture for water plant and traffic signals adopted August 27th, 2003. Bylaw 2004-3-F to amend Bylaw 2003-06-F adopted May 12th, 2004. Bylaw 2004-06-F to amend Bylaws 2002-08-F and 2003-01-F adopted May 12th, 2004. Just a couple more now. Bylaw 2004-23-F for the local improvement levy, sewer and water, North Acreages, adopted October 6, 2004. And finally, Bylaw 2004-24-F for the local improvement debenture, sewer and water, North Acreages, adopted October 6, 2004. So, administration recommends that this bylaw be given 3 readings today. So I move that council give first reading to bylaw 2016, you thought you were done with this, 2016-01-A.
Any discussion on it? No, Councillor Schuler?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Graham. That was entertaining, to say the least. Just a quick question, just for clarity, can we confirm that these debentures and local improvement levies have been paid in full? And that's part of the reason why we're rescinding these bylaws?
I have had Treasury review all of these to confirm that they have been paid in full, all debentures settled, so everything should be able to be cleared off the books.
Thank you. No further questions, and I will call to question. All in favor? That's carried. Councillor Long?
I move that council give second reading to bylaw 2016-01-A.
Any discussion on this motion? Call the question. All in favor? That's carried.
I move that council consider giving third and final reading to bylaw 2016-01-A.
Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? It's carried.
I move, finally, that council give third and final reading to bylaw 2016-01-A.
Any discussion on this motion? Call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. All right. And 7.6, our addition, is the Regional Agreement Municipal Preparedness Plan, also known as RAMP. And Councillor Schuler.
Thank you. Sure I got the right one here. Town administration has been working in cooperation with Brazeau County and the Village of Breton to develop a plan and agreement that will enable the 3 municipalities the ability to work cooperatively together during a major incident, event, or crisis. The Regional Agreement Municipal Preparedness Plan and Agreement and provides a foundation and framework in which all 3 municipalities can work together to mitigate any type of disaster that may occur which could affect one of the partnering municipalities or all 3. By accepting this plan and agreement, the 3 municipalities will be able to move to a more streamlined process should a major event occur, which will reduce confusion, delays, and possible conflicts among the parties involved and provide immediate, efficient, and quality assistance for the public throughout the whole region. I therefore move that Council pass a resolution to approve the Regional Agreement Municipal Preparedness Plan, RAMP, and agreement.
Any discussion on this motion? Councillor Frederickson?
I was just going to ask Chief Thompson if he would be able to talk a little bit about this, but then also talk about the groundbreaking component of this too, because to my understanding, this is something that is new to our region that is mind-blowing to others.
Thank you, Council. Just to give a little bit of background on this agreement, we've been working on this for quite some time. We originally set out to develop a joint emergency response plan for all 3 municipalities. However, because each municipality has different interests and each one has different needs, we quickly realized that it became very difficult to create a plan that would solve and suit everybody's needs. As a result, we moved to the next component, which was to create an agreement. And this is what is before Council today. This agreement is extremely important because it ties all 3 municipalities together should we have a large-scale incident or should we have an incident which will require the assistance of the other municipalities. It will reduce confusion, it will reduce conflicts, possible delays, and stress amongst the municipalities when we get into these types of situations. So this will provide a framework that will allow us to very quickly and efficiently respond to the incident rather than spending time deciding who's going to do what and how and who's going to pay for those types of things. This is unique. It is the first one that I know of that is in the province. Other municipalities now are contacting myself to look at this agreement for their own municipalities. So it is something that is unique to our area.
Awesome, thank you. All right, any other discussion or questions? Call to question, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. And that is the end of our discussion items. We need a 10-minute break and then we'll be back. We're starting off with 8.0, which is our information items. We have 8.1, Bylaw Year-End Report 2015. We have 8.2, Star Catholic Board Highlights, January 2016. 8.3, Councillor Frederickson Conference Report for the Healthy Communities Coalition. 8.4 is our RCMP January Stats. And where's my 8.5 is our Drayton Valley Brazeau County Fire Services January 2016 Stats. Can I get a motion to adopt those for information? Councillor Schuler, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. And on to 9.0 is our department reports. We have up 9.1 is planning and development.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's been quite a few months since I've had to sit at the table here, but I'm happy to be up here to give the planning development report. So within the last 3 weeks since the last council meeting, we've had roughly around 11 development permits issued. Those ranging from a few demolitions of houses. We've had a couple basement developments, fitness center renovations to the Omniplex, so that will be commencing shortly. Signage, we've had a single family dwelling plus a duplex, which brings 3 housing starts so far. Yay. We've also approved the Shell station, Tim Hortons, and a car wash that is going to be located at 5733 50th Avenue. That is actually right beside Drayton's Pride, so they have started breaking ground. Building permit is in the works, but hopefully they're going to be starting construction here in the next month or so for sure. We've also issued a few business licenses, one of those including a kickboxing gym, which will be located within the commercial village. And that would be my report.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Bossert?
Sorry, can you name the businesses that are going on 50th Avenue again? I didn't quite catch it the first time.
Shell station, so there'll be the gas station there. There will be a car wash and Tim Hortons.
Councillor Frederickson?
Is the car wash connected to the Shell station, similar to what you would see at Scotty's?
It won't be completely attached to the building, it'll be separate, but it's coming the whole package together. This is kind of just phase one of their development. Phase two will be probably within the next year or two, just depending on the economy.
All right, thank you. 9.2 is engineering, transportation, and sustainability. Ron Fraser?
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. In the last, since last council, we selected and awarded the low bid for the electrical work at the bus hub and park to TB Traffic. That work it's probably still going to be a couple of months before they start until the weather improves. So we also submitted a joint Alberta Community Partnership grant with Brazeau County on February 5th. We took the lead on one for the design of the ring road, to try to get funds for the design of the ring road. We participated with them. They submitted two for 2 trail connectivity projects, and so we participated in those applications as well. Also recently, we've worked with a consultant to finalize their traffic calming study, and we are planning to bring that to GNP shortly. With respect to sustainability, Danette's continuing to work on the greenhouse gas reduction study. She advises, as you're well aware, the Women in Leadership program is currently underway. Apparently the Youth Advisory Council, they have the first meeting today, apparently. She will be leading some vermi composting courses starting in March, open to the public at the town office. She said the FCM Sustainability Conference was great, as I think you're aware as well. She will also be doing documentary movie nights at Brian's Coffee House twice a month starting in March 8th at 7 p.m. And as far as Public Works is concerned, the Christmas tree removal program has concluded. The crews have been sanding and maintaining roads during the recent freeze-thaw cycles that we've experienced. And they are completing the final draft, I guess, of the snow removal policy, and at some point, probably fairly soon, we'll be bringing it to council. That's my report.
Sounds good. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Nadeau?
Hi, Ron. On the road into, I believe it's 45th, into Aurora School, last year, right before we got the snow in, there was that huge hole and trench built up that was filled right before the snow hit, and so there was a large, and I had asked about it last year, or at the time of that, and whether or not that would settle and what the next steps were. Over the winter, obviously with the freeze, then how the kind of winter we had, it's that lump is pretty significant. There's a lot of gravel there, and I would say probably about 6 or 7 potholes all in that area. It's really taken a beating over the winter, and I'm not sure if there's some follow-up for the contractor that goes back to repair that now that we're kind of ongoing with spring, or hopefully spring is coming early. But I'm just wondering what the steps are, or maybe if administration could have a look at that area and site, because it's in rough shape, and it's a well-used road.
Thank you, Councillor Nadeau. We will go out and take a look at it. I believe that's one of the ones associated with the pressure reducing valves installations. So it is the responsibility of the contractor to fix it. However, pavement, first of all, you can't really get hot asphalt pavement this time of year anyway. So we may have to do a temporary fix until we are able to get the asphalt and get the contractor back in. But we will take a look at it. Thanks.
Councillor Bossert?
Thank you. I just want to thank your team for going into the area behind the hospital where we have our seniors duplexes. There had been some concerns about the accessibility of our sidewalks and the ability for scooters to cross Madsen Avenue and have clear access to the hospital. And I see that there's been more cleaning done and that the accessibility has been improved for our seniors up in that area. So I just wanted to thank Public Works for that.
Great. Thank you very much. I'll convey that to our group there. Thanks.
All right. Nothing further. We'll go to 9.3, Community Services and FCSS. Annette Dreesen.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a few things to report on. Capital projects, of course, keeping us quite busy for this year, so hopefully we can get quite a few of those projects completed, and we're just getting a number of quotes and estimates on most of them at this point in time. I want to talk about the open space development in terms of finishing off that project for this year. That'll be one of our major focuses. And, of course, just making sure that we are indeed being inclusive of all types of functions and what really builds a community. So we are introducing art into that park, and we're inviting our local community members, whether they're an artist or not, or just want to have an opinion on how to introduce art into our park, to come to a get-together on February 29th where we can share a number of different ideas, take a look at what we can do within that park. FCSS, of course, just want to simply, talk about the Making Financial Sense program. I think more importantly now, more so than ever, it is so important for everyone if they are having some difficulty with trying to figure out, how to budget during these times. The Making Financial Sense program can be an excellent source of information for them. And I dare say that they will find a number of tools within the Making Financial Sense program that can help them with taking a look at how to get themselves through some of these more economic difficulties. So if anybody's out there, do encourage them to check into the community program. The indoor playground, again, just want to put a little shout out for the indoor playground as well as the place. And again, that those promotions, they can go on our website. Take a look at those programs for toddlers and, of course, for youth. And then, again, just a shout out for the staff, that our town staff that were responsible for organizing Family Day this past weekend. Again, weather was great. Actually, it was a little muddy. But otherwise, it was a great time. I know that we certainly ran out of the hamburgers and the hot dogs. My partner in crime there, working the chef station, so it was a great time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. 9.4 is Emergency Services. Tom Thompson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just to go through a few things, I'd like to direct Council's attention to the additional stats for the fire service, page 17 and 18. Just to give Council an update, in the month of January, we responded to 26 calls. Just to break them down, we responded to 2 structure fire calls. One of them was a house fire within the town, and it was a result of, it was in the back door area of the house, and upon further investigation, it was determined that a space heater had ignited some insulation in the back door area, which caused a fire in the back door area. The second one was a dog kennel that caught fire. It was still under construction, and it hadn't been completed, so there was no loss to any animals, but it was a total loss to the structure itself. In regards to motor vehicle collisions, we responded to 4 motor vehicle collisions. Generally, at this time of the year, we are usually busier with motor vehicle collisions due to the economy, I believe, and the good weather that we've had has made a huge difference in terms of motor vehicle collisions. We responded to 2 single vehicle rollovers as well as 2 vehicle collisions, all with minor injuries. One of the incidents involved a dog that was injured, but it has since seen the vet, and it's in good health, so it's good for the animal. In regards to alarm calls, we responded to 12 alarm calls. 6 of them were residential calls. 2 of them were business false alarms, which we are dealing with through our false alarm bylaw. We also had an alarm at a local high school. Art students were spray painting, and it set their alarm system off. We also had 2 alarms at 2 different elementary schools. Both of them were a result of pull stations being pulled. We also responded to an alarm at the Omniplex with, again, a pull station being pulled. This is a bit of a concern for us. We've had several pull stations being pulled, and on those, a lot of that was pranks, which is a concern for us. And I'd like to remind the public that pulling an alarm is a criminal offense, and you can be charged for that. In regards to emergency assists, we responded to 3 of them. 2 of them were cardiac arrest calls, and 1 of them was a lift and assist to assist EMS. We also responded to 5 miscellaneous calls. 1 of them involved ruptured pipes that had frozen and flooded a local condo in town. We had 2 calls that ended up being no response required, as they were permitted burn calls. We also responded to 1 Stars Landing and 1 carbon monoxide leak, and that brought us to a total of 26. During the RCMP's presentation, it's too bad he's not here, but it's nice to see that our local staff sergeant was on the ground out doing some work. I too was on the ground on Friday. We were very busy on Friday. I was busy filling air bottles and supporting the staff. We had over 30 firefighters working during the course of Friday, so that's 30 volunteer staff that are out helping the community. So it was a very busy day for us. And that's my report.
Thank you. And our bylaw report, Pam Bulkey.
Good morning.
Morning.
I've supplied the charts that I have supplied previously. It's not a true year because I only started using that program in April, so it's only a 9-month stretch, just to clarify. This year will be the full year once our year is done. I guess any questions or concerns? Most of my time is spent usually doing information items, informing public questions, informing people of things they're doing wrong.
Any questions? Councillor Nadeau?
Tom, your mic.
Oh.
Just had a question in terms of the new traffic controls that are going on right now in our community in terms of speed, and then the lights. And if you wanted to talk a little bit about as an education opportunity. My husband has a wall of shame.
Excellent. Good to know.
They're all warnings so far, so they're making their mark, but just as education.
Excellent. Of course, the automated traffic enforcement program is ongoing. I can tell you that there's been approximately 5,741 tickets written since May to the end of December. Right now, we are currently in the warning phase / ticket issuing aspect of the stop sign red light violation. So everybody needs to come to a complete stop at a red light and or a stop sign, regardless of if there are traffic coming the other way or not. Stop is stop. And other than that, we're waiting we're using ITS and Global currently for our automated traffic enforcement. At some point, it's probably going to be one company name as they are joining forces to become the automated traffic enforcement provider. At this point, I'm not sure when that might happen, but we are waiting also just for some provincial approval for Global to take over the stop sign, red light violation issue, so they're coming a little later. There were 144, warnings giving for the stop sign, red light violations in the month of January. Excellent.
Councillor Frederickson?
Thank you. With regards to the program you're using to provide the reports,
Yes.
I'm just wondering, how are you finding this program? Is there things that were jumping out at you that perhaps were, a surprise as to how much time is being allocated to one thing over another? I'm just asking for just a little interpretation from your perspective on some of the stats, and how is it making your job more effective, anything along those lines?
I'm not sure at this point it makes my job more effective. I think it makes you and or the public aware that there is a lot more going on than meets the eye, that there is a need for bylaw enforcement in the town of Drayton Valley, that we have a lot of issues that need to be addressed at any given time. And there's a lot of misinformation out there that the public is always phoning to ask about, like, can I park here? Is this allowed? Why is that happening? So there is a lot of things happening that maybe you as councillors wouldn't be aware of, and this report helps you see what issues and what hot topic issues, like parking is always a big issue in town, everywhere, anywhere. Regardless of whether it's an offense or not, it does tend to come up, questions and or offenses. Animal control has sometimes been an issue, but nothing really jumps out, just to say, but it does help me too, just to show you guys what's happening on a basis, that there is a job required, and there probably is more manpower required on occasional times.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I did have one question. I was just curious the difference between a case report and a citation report. In your hours in here, they're both broken as report writing, but I don't know.
The report writing is actually every time I put something into the computer, it takes it as a report writing.
Okay.
A citation would be a ticket.
Oh, okay.
Every time I write a ticket, it goes in as a citation report.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I appreciate this. I like having the visuals and being able to break it down like this and see that we are doing things about these different areas too, because we get concerns from the public about
We are
them.
trying.
So, yes, yes, definitely. All right, thank you. Oh, Pam, sorry. I wrote down one more question on my other paper. It was just in actually terms of the photo radar. Do you have a % of what's been local versus external?
I do. I didn't bring that with me.
Okay.
I know in the beginning it was quite high local.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite as high locally as it is now. The ticket numbers have dropped. Like in the
Yeah.
beginning, we were getting 1,000 tickets a month. The last report for December, we only had 419 tickets for the month.
Good.
That could be weather too, like a little bit hindrance of just people slowing down because roads are icy or slick. But it has changed from the very beginning, and it is working. People are slowing down in our school zones, which was the main purpose of this, was to help people slow down, even though we've put lights and signs and everything that we could think of out there. But it has made an effect.
Yeah, great, thank you. All right, 9.5 is administration. We have legislative services. Chandra? Nothing? All right. Economic development, Eric? Nothing? Communications and marketing, Tyler? Come on down.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Saving energy, woo.
Thank you so much. Family Day was outstanding, and if you want someone to be a master barbecuer, wow. I do not know how to cook hot dogs or hamburgers compared to that. I'll just be honest with you. It's very different. The only thing that I have to report is that I so want to get to 1,000. We're so close. We're at 982 right now, and so I'm hoping, we were in the 70s, we're at the 80s. I'm hoping that by next council meeting we'll be at 1,000. So that was all that I had to report today.
Sounds good. Yeah, questions? Councillor Frederickson?
Just a general question. With regards to our social media and our app, are you finding those tools are engaging public, like as far as looks and likes and clicks and all that kind of stuff?
Facebook has been really good about actually providing us with insights, a lot better with a lot of the fan pages that are there. And based on our engagement that we are getting, we're getting about 5,000 reach that is there, which is very, very good for a municipality of our size.
Councillor Schuler?
Thank you. Going back to the app, I'm sure if put out a challenge to every councillor to reach out to 2 people they know that don't have the app and get them to download it, that would put us over the top, for one. Second, the number of downloads we have on the app, can you give us an indication on how that compares to other municipalities that, per capita kind of thing?
We are much, much higher than any of the other municipalities that I've spoken to. The town of Sexsmith just recently got themselves an app, and they actually called us to ask us how to market it and how to get people. And they said, you got to be diligent. And that's the biggest thing. We've had this app since November of 2014, and getting to 1,000 would be a heck of an accomplishment, and that's what you have to do. You just have to be diligent about it to be able to make sure that everybody's able to have it. It is also through the iTunes Store and also through Google Play. So we did talk about some of the other devices to be able to get it on, but the number of people that are actually using like the Windows phone or the Microsoft, whichever ones they are, not a lot of people are actually using that. About 1% of the population, and it's kind of surprising. I was thinking about going to one, but now that I have my iPhone, I'm good. So.
Councillor Neto?
2 things. First off, are we able to track who the thousandth person would be?
Who that 1,000th person is?
Yes.
I would have to look into that. I don't think that we can because we have to have certain anonymity.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was just wondering.
I can definitely look into it. I'm not sure if we're able to do that or if that's a privacy issue that's there because.
I'm just thinking for a contest-wise or
Yeah.
something to encourage somebody if for the 1,000th would get.
That'd be a lot of fun. I can definitely look into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you going to download on all the devices you have? Just all right, perfect. Good to know. Good to know.
I've got it. And the second question was, I appreciated the fan out that you did about safety with our ponds. And having the map to show where those ponds are and the safety. I saw it shared numerous times on Facebook. So I think that's an excellent tool, and I really appreciate that you had that out there.
It was just a discussion that we ended up having very early on when I started here to be able to have maps, and that seems to be driving people to be able to get the information more consistently. And then you don't have to say, you don't have a list of numbers that are sitting there and people don't understand where that is. Having a map, having that visual element is essential for social media and even for our website to be able to make sure that it's there. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. 9.5 is our CAO report. Dwight Dibben.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to start today my report with a couple of introductions. At the back of the room, we have Jorge Gonzalez, who has recently joined us as our I'm just going to call him our GIS guru, but actually all things to supplement our information services tasks and activities, but all things technology right now. I think, unfortunately, with us still being in the recruitment phase and awaiting a new manager of information services, poor Jorge is getting disproportionate orientation into all things town. But we're delighted that he's joined us, and we might just want to give you a wave from the back of the room. We're wanted you to put a face to a name and him to see all of you as well. So welcome. Glad to have you here, Jorge. And he goes by George as well. I kind of swap back and forth interchangeably. I just think Jorge is really cool. He says he has no preference. I'm not sure if that's true, but I'm sure one day he'll tell me the truth, and then things will be good. I also would like to introduce to you Pam Livingston, who has been attending council today, and have recently brought Pam on board just in terms of providing some additional capacity, particularly in policy analysis and investigation for us. I talked to Pam actually on the heels of a discussion we had at GMP, just on some of the priorities and some of the elements that Council has identified, not just in budget planning, but also in the formative plans that Council approved last year, namely the Community Sustainability Plan, the Community Development Plan. And I asked Pam if she would take a dive into these plans with an idea of helping to put together for the leadership team and administration what our companion plan as a town administration should be to these plans, with an eye as to those are, you've heard me say this before, these are very significant, very comprehensive, and very meaty documents that really challenge not just administration, but I think the community in terms of what our activity, what our plans, and what our timing should be around the elements and deliverables that Council has laid out for the community. So with an eye to the upcoming Council retreat next month, Pam is going to assist the leadership group in kind of taking that first swath as to what's there, our thoughts about what these mean, what the priorities are, and the timelines around that, so that then we can bring that forward to Council for your review, comment, and direction as to what your thoughts are and whether or not we've hit the mark on those elements, what you think about our view on what we should be leading, what we should be partnering with, and quite frankly, items that may not be administration's lead or even direct participation in, but what that might mean for elements of those plans going forward. Moving on, I just wanted to thank Council for your approval of the development permit earlier in the agenda for the purposes of animal control. I felt very fortunate arriving here in Drayton following the budget process with this item in seeing the groundwork that had been done by a number of members of administration. And certainly this isn't comprehensive, but I would extend my thanks personally to the bylaw officer, the Director of Protective Services, the Legislative Services Coordinator, and also the Manager of Public Works for their quite comprehensive, some would say exhaustive research work that had been done on what options are for us. There was, as I'm sure you know, no shortage of options and probably a greater number of opinions as to what we could do, but then also what we should do in terms of the options before us and what the best approach going forward was. And so I believe that we came forward with a very sound and proper proposal, and we appreciate Council's support of this as we move forward from this point on. Just a couple of other notes. Ron had mentioned in his report a number of applications that have gone forward jointly from the county and the town under the Intermunicipal Cooperation Program, or element of the Alberta Community Partnership Program. This goes back to mid-January in a webinar that AUMA hosted on changes to the program. And the announcement of the new criteria was very late. This is dealing with the current fiscal year of the province, which ends March 31st, and really had a 2-week turnaround time frame for these applications. And so there was a renewed emphasis, I'm probably being polite, in terms of intermunicipal cooperation on this program. What they did was change the scoring to award more points for joint submissions. They also changed the scoring to give more points for projects that had a funding contribution from municipalities or others that municipalities can bring to bear. So while it wasn't required, it in essence was required if one wanted to position their applications in the best possible light. So Ron had mentioned the 3, there was actually a 4th, and I appreciated Chief Thompson stick handling this one as well. We also put forward an application around the budget priority of the new pumper truck. That miraculously the numbers worked perfectly in terms of what the maximum contribution per project would be of the province, and that's a maximum of $350,000 per project. I think our total cost was $706,000 and change, so it fit nicely, and I'm not certain about the trails or the ring road prospects, but between the CAO of the county, myself, Chief Thompson, we think the prospects on this particular application are quite high. So that would then create a bit of budget capital room, should it be successful on both our parts and the county. One other aspect, too, that kind of drove the timelines that we were fortunate is that we were de facto having to work within budget parameters in terms of these applications, as a requirement of the program is a council resolution in support of a project. With 2 weeks to go from criteria to submission deadline, they did grant a little bit of flex time through February, but really we were able to dive into the budget and find areas that we knew jointly we had both looked at in different ways, and so each municipality was able to lead 2 project proposals and support an infinite number theoretically. So the county led on 2, we led on 2, and so we'll see. We hope to hear within the next month what the prospects of these at, as we believe the province not only wants to but needs to move this money out off their books before the end of March. Just a couple of other meetings in the past little while. January 19th, I met with the mayor with representatives of the Forest Products Association that were in town. They were presenting to the county, but we took advantage of their presence in the community just to meet and discuss items of mutual interest. February 5th, attended the regular meeting of the Drayton Valley Hospitality and Tourism Authority. And last week, I met with the executive of the local Lions Club as well on their annual operating agreement with the town. And I guess just lastly, in addition to some of the other work that we're doing in advance of Council's retreat and aspect, we're starting to see come from particularly the province elements and programs and items that probably are foreshadowing some of their priorities and budget priorities in the upcoming year. They are in a variety of areas. The one thing that I am concerned about is that the programs, while laudable in speaking to the larger program, are actually quite modest in terms of overall funding. And so when one looks at the maximum amounts that can be received or captured by any one proponent, municipality, whatever the case may be, it does challenge us to determine whether or not there's an actual business case to some of these elements for the amount of monies that may be there or may be available, also considering the time and effort that is required in some cases to build the business case, to analyze the opportunities, and then to submit. And increasingly, it's not just one proponent that has to submit, it's a multiple variety of proponents. But we think this is a lot of foreshadowing coming up to the anticipated budget in March. We also expect the federal government's budget in March to speak to their infrastructure plans, and are hopeful that with some of the commitments and commentary in the last federal election and what's been coming out in the last number of months, that there actually are meaningful opportunities for municipalities, including our own, to look at these things in keeping with what federal priorities may be. So that would be my report, and welcome any questions you might have.
Nope. I think that's good. Thank you. 10.0 is council reports. Councillor Nadeau.
Thank you. Just a couple of things I'll comment to today. Obviously, the IM conference that's coming up, IM Empowered, for in celebration of International Women's Day on March 5th at the CTC. Tickets are still available. There was a misprint on ticket prices, so we're honoring the lower ticket price at $20. So there's, as I said, tickets are still available. It's an excellent opportunity. There's a wonderful keynote speaker, Molly Burke, who has spoken internationally. And I'd encourage anybody that wants to talk about the original idea through the program or through the conference is about being empowered, yes, but about being strong, brave, confident. It talks about anti-bullying. It talks about relationship building. There's fitness classes. There's multiple workshops to choose from. So I certainly encourage young girls to look into it. And should payment of tickets be an issue, there are subsidies and there have been businesses that have donated tickets for families of that nature. So please feel free to contact Chris Lees at Aim for Success, and he can get you in touch with some tickets that are out there. I just want to report the Communities in Bloom Family Night, that we had the Princess Bride movie night. We had over 100 people there. The hot chocolate bar is obviously a hit, and we will continue to have those. It was a great night, and yes, that was my husband resting his eyes in the Western Review before the movie. But it was a really great event, and we heard a lot of feedback on terms of, we were asking people what time of year they wanted to see those kinds of events, and it seemed across the board that they really wanted to see more winter events. And summers were hard, people and families are out and about, but having more things like that happen in the winter time and at the Mackenzie Center. So it worked well. We'll take that as feedback, and the next movie we'll be showing, if it's next year, will be Willow. So, yes. So we tend to like to bring back the classics, and we're not in competition with the direct movie theater. So when we're having movie nights and we're reintroducing a whole other generations to some classic movies. I also have attended the Legacy Project meetings. That is a joint project, a town initiative, but the community groups are really taken on and running. The Genealogy Society is involved, the Legion, the museum, the library. It's terrific. This is a phenomenal group about bringing forward acknowledgement of our legacy in our community in upcoming to our 60th anniversary. The project and the groups around the table are willing to and committed to long-term strategies on this project and really want to develop a board. They had talked about as a project base, and they really want to be the heritage component and see this as an ongoing project with no end date. So they're encouraged. They're looking at grants, and so we'll have more to report at a later date. But it was an excellent meeting, and I'm so pleased with the people around the table and the doers. It's nice to not be the only doer at a table. It was really refreshing. Everybody took in, even assigned things to some members that weren't there. I'll follow up, Graham. But it was an excellent meeting, and I'm really pleased with now fully understanding and having the community fully understand, the community groups fully understand the project, and have some key benchmarks. So that makes me less stressed out because it could go so far. So that's my report.
Thank you. Councillor Long.
You took me by surprise there. Thank you. Pretty quiet couple of weeks, so I won't be too long here. February 4th, we had a meeting of the Clean Energy Technology Centre Committee, which I'm sure Councillor Schuler will talk more on, but things are going well there. Everything's on track to be opening fairly shortly, and I believe the first event is going to be the conference which my colleague just referred to. So looking good there. On the 6th, of course, with I think all of us attended the celebration of the transition from CAO to Chief Operating Officer of Manny Diol. Very nice evening. We spent much of the time with representatives from the City of Leduc and the County of Leduc. Very refreshing to see those guys sitting at the same table, laughing at the same jokes, and clearly enjoying each other's company. So that's nice. A fine example to us all, I thought. Economic Development meeting on the 8th. I can't read my own writing. I did something on the 9th, but I'm not sure what. And I did, the only other thing I'll touch on is the Family Day celebration, which I enjoyed enormously. Wildly popular when you start giving out free food. It's astonishing. People will have, and the thing, I don't know if this struck anybody else, but the number of children that came up and how polite they were. They all said please, they all said thank you. It was a real tribute to the upbringing that they've been getting in our community, I thought. So, excellent.
Thank you. Councillor Schuler?
Thank you. I'm not going to go over everything since my last council meeting because that was a little while ago. So I missed the previous meeting here, but just I want to touch on a couple things. February 3rd had a Legacy Committee meeting, and we'll continue to call it a Legacy Committee meeting at this point, but it's moved ahead a lot faster than I envisioned it would, and the community has jumped on board and really taken control, and that was what we wanted from the get-go. So I'm very, very pleased. We have a good group involved. They're very excited, and they're moving things forward almost at lightning speed here. So just want to say kudos to them, and you're going to hear a lot more about what's happening in there and what's coming up as we move along. So yeah, the community is going to hear about this real quick. On the 4th, the CETC, as Graham had indicated, things are moving along nicely there. My understanding is the furniture is going in this week, so we will have a couple employees move in probably next week. A little bit of a delay on things, but not too bad and not really unexpected. So there's a lot of exciting things coming up with the CETC, different projects being looked at, and I'm so far pleased on how it's moving along. February 5th, the Housing Committee, we met for the first time, and I'll let our chair, Councillor Bossert, give a little more detail on that meeting, but I just wanted to touch. I'm really glad to see that that we've had a meeting, and we have some positive things to look forward to. And the only other thing I want to touch on just quickly, yesterday I had the opportunity to meet my mentee in the Women in Leadership, and in fact she has joined us now, so I'd like to introduce Jamie May. And we had a really good meeting, have some good ideas on where Jamie has interest in and where we can get involved. So we're going to have some good updates coming on that, and I really look forward to this program. It's a great program. And unfortunately, my other job did not allow me to participate in family day activities as I had to work, but I do want to thank Council Administration and all the volunteers for putting on a wonderful event. My family did come out from Edmonton to partake in some of it, so they were very, very impressed, and couldn't believe the number of people that were at some of the venues. So I just want to say congratulations. We put on a fantastic event, and we are drawing people from out of town, so that's great. And that is my report.
Thank you. Councillor Bossert?
Thank you. Just wanted to start with an event that we had January 28th, which was the poverty simulation here in Drayton Valley. Final numbers were that we had 77 participants and 22 volunteers for a total of 99 people. It was an excellent turnout with a very high youth contingent who all experienced what it would be like to live in poverty for a month. And it was an eye-opening experience for those that participated. I got to pretend to be the banker during that simulator, and wow, that opened my eyes too. So hats off to all that coordinated that, particularly to Emily Hickman, our Homelessness and Poverty Reduction Strategy Coordinator. She did a fine job of bringing that all together. And we look forward to having that come back to our community again at a later date. On February 1st, I did have a Homelessness and Poverty Reduction Strategy team meeting. Sorry for the long name. That's just the name of it. We, of course, debriefed about the poverty simulation. We continue to evaluate the MAP program as it continues to operate in our community with strong support from approximately 19 volunteers. Our goal at this point is to be open consistently 3 nights a week to provide shelter for those in need. And we do continue to look for more volunteers. The more volunteers we have, of course, the more evenings we can be open. But it is being well utilized, and we are getting gold stars for having this type of program in our community, in a community of our size. So I think we should all be commended on the work that the MAP program is doing. We also reviewed vacancies in some of our municipal housing. Center Court and Cadence Court have some vacancies, and we're encouraging people that are looking for housing to contact the Brazeau Seniors Foundation, who are the administrators of our municipal housing. We may be able to, we'll be able to receive applications and go from there to see if your family is eligible to be part of our municipal housing. On February 5th, we started up our Drayton Valley Town Housing Committee again, where we reviewed our terms of reference, which were adopted last October, and we discussed some of the background of what has been going on in the community in regards to housing over the last 18 months or so, and realized that we are faced with some challenges as far as developing lands that the town owns and how we can move forward with certain development ideas. And we've also discussed other programs that the community may offer to citizens. These programs are in their infancy as far as development, but moving forward, I think that we will be seeing some incentive for citizens or residents to move from rental to home ownership. And there's just a number of different ideas that are on the table that are being fleshed out as we continue to work with the Housing Committee. On February 6th, we had Manny Celebration, and I have to say, I was struck and honored with those that attended from all over the province and all over the country, in fact, and from overseas, to honor Manny in his accomplishments with the town. And I think as a municipality, we've been very blessed to have a CAO and an employee who's been so dedicated to our community. So I was very pleased to be part of that celebration and wish Manny all the best at his new role at the Clean Energy and Technology Center. On February 7th, Council was invited to have dinner with the council from Stony Plain, and although this is an unusual thing, that doesn't usually happen, we had a very interesting evening with that council and had a great opportunity to share some of the things that our council and our community are involved in, and vice versa from Stony Plain, and found that there was a great number of areas where we could share ideas and share initiatives. So it was a well-spent evening. On February 11th, I was able to meet with my mentee, a young lady who I happened to teach sewing to years and years ago. So it was interesting to touch base with her again and to muster up some ideas as to what we can work on together or in tandem with other community members for this young lady in the Women in Government program or Women in Leadership program. I must say that this initiative has moved forward quickly. Our young ladies are excited. I think our counselor is excited to be mentoring with these young ladies, and I expect great things to come from it. Yesterday we had a waste management meeting, which I'll have our chair, Councillor Fredrickson, I'm sure has more to say about that. And I did want to touch again on the Making Financial Sense program, as Ms. Dreesen mentioned. It's starting again this Thursday in the community. At this point, we have some 20 people registered. I just want to make a note that if people in the community want to take part in Making Financial Sense, but they find that English is not their language of first choice or their first language, there may be some support for that, as we know that our community is of very diverse culture and languages. We're hoping to bring in some support for people who need language support on that one. And welcome to Pam. Look forward to your work here with the town, and Jorge as well. Welcome. Glad to see you. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fredrickson?
Thank you. Just to begin, yes, the Waste Management Committee had met yesterday, and I just wanted to say welcome back to Sonia Wigglesworth. She has, even yesterday at our meeting, she's a wealth of historical knowledge with all things that have to do with our Waste Management Committee, and gives us some context for some of the decisions and recommendations that we would be bringing forward to council for consideration. At that meeting, we were reviewing our terms of references and continually looking to align our policies and our programs with our vision for the town, as well as our sustainability plans. So that's something that this committee is continually working forward on. We had discussed some of our programs that are up and coming. One is the spring cleanup, which there'll be information rolling out with that in the next couple months. And another hats off to our administration, Cell 4 at our Aspen Waste Facility, which was under construction in, I believe it began August last year, has now been completed. And within that Cell 4, we were able to obtain tire aggregate, I believe it would be considered a grant. It's a grant program through the province that essentially aided in the development of Cell 4 and had saved the community, it was $408,000 that we wouldn't have had to, that we did not have to budget or allocate dollars to that aggregate in that cell. We were able to obtain a provincial grant. So hats off to our administration for being able to put the information in and requesting that grant. In addition to that, I did attend Coalitions Connect Conference, which is the conference, the annual conference for the Healthy Community Coalition. That is, I'm a standing committee member on the Healthy Community Coalition. So essentially, the annual Coalition Connect Conference is established to acknowledge, encourage, and support the important role of communities in substance abuse prevention. The keynote speaker at this particular conference was Derek Peterson. He's developed integrative youth development framework that integrates best youth practices and research being done in the world today. And in fact, some of his work is being used to support the United Nations Declaration for Rights of a Child. So he was a very dynamic speaker. We had a lot of activity and a lot of hands-on, visuals and actions and really kind of hammering that information in our head. And one of his big wording that he uses, having youth that are webbed up. So I'm not sure who in this room is familiar with the 40 developmental assets, but that was some research that had come out some years back that basically had said that children that show that they have more of these assets, whether they're tangible or intangible, so things like being part of a faith-based group, or being part of extracurricular activities, or having some of those values instilled at home, etc. They had found that those kids would tend to be more resilient. So Derek Peterson was a part of that 40 developmental asset research, but from there he has now broken this down to taken it to another level. And really what they had found is for youth to not fall through the cracks, so it would be, we want them to be webbed up. So that would mean that they had found that a limit of, or a minimal of 5 caring adults in their lives is what is necessary for a child to be able to bounce back from hardship and to have a sounding board for, dealing with things the curveballs that life throw. And it really got me thinking about adults and seniors as well. I sit on the Brazeau Seniors Foundation board, and I find, once I'm looking at family members that are kind of aging into that criteria, once their kids are grown up and they are no longer taking them to soccer or Little League or all those kind of things, that adults sometimes tend to become isolated. And so although his research doesn't show this, I did see a really good opportunity to kind of correlate that mindset into our adult lives too. So who are the sounding boards for you when a life throws a curveball at you? And so it was very interesting. 2 other points on this conference that I found was interesting was, as children, primarily the 5 caring adults are made up of the parents' friends and family. So it would be, your friends that you have play dates with or family. As the child grows up into teen years, their 5 caring adults tend to be parents or adults of the friends that they choose, so, or coaches, those kind of things. So it comes from parent having influence to them having that autonomy on their own life and who are your caring adults in your life. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Also, the Women in Leadership, I have met with my mentees. And I just want to say kudos to our sustainability planner, Danette, for launching this program, as well as to other business and community leaders who are volunteering their times to mentor these young ladies. So council is one aspect of this program. There's also business and general community leaders that are also mentoring these young ladies for the Women in Leadership program. So thank you very much for that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As deputy, I attended the Synergy meeting, and it's made up of a bunch of businesses from the area or people that are interested in it. And I think the feeling around the table was that everyone's kind of holding where they're at and holding strong and just seeing what the future year brings. We did have a guest speaker, it was the MLA, but as the budget hasn't been released, they didn't have a lot of information to go on. So we have been working with the Smarter Towns project, moving forward with some of our departments. We're still just drilling down through all the information that we do have and what we want to be using for the pilot and moving forward. So there should be more coming hopefully soon. We had dinner with the Stony Plain Council. That was wonderful. I was out at FCM last week, a sustainability conference in Ottawa, which was great. It was nice to catch up with people that we know from there. Lots of the mayors from around here tend to be out there. And yeah, have some good discussions on where different municipalities are moving forward with their sustainable ideas. So lots on asset management, which I will be bringing forward in my report. Physician Recruitment and Retention Committee had a meeting with the MLA and the Rural Physician Action Plan leader, RPAP, David Kay. We were in Edmonton for that, and just to discuss where our region is at with physicians and what we're doing and what the plan is moving forward and how it kind of, our role and their role and how we can all work together. So it was a very positive meeting, and everyone's looking forward to moving forward with it. So, and then Family Day. Yeah, it was wonderful. There was lots of people out there, and I heard that all the locations were busy. It wasn't just at the landfill, but at the swimming pool and the Omniplex and stuff going on. So it's nice to have it spread out like that, and there was lots of people using the bus, which was great to see too, hopping on and off. So yeah, I thought it was very well organized. And I think that concludes our meeting, so thank you. And I think our GMP agenda is pretty short, so maybe we'll just move into the back and go through GMP. All right. Oh, motion to adjourn the meeting. Not everybody now. Councillor Long, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you.